It's nice to see you back on the Coin Lady channel. This morning, Gary Gensler also testified before the Senate Banking Committee, and in this video, we'll go over the highlights. At last, Gary Gensler has to deal with some tough inquiries. In this video, I will discuss something that has baffled the XRP community for some time and give a brief overview of everything that has happened up to this point. That's the main distinction between XLM and XRP. It's a big deal that XL was finally launched today. In addition, I hope to go into greater detail in this video about how XRP is distinct from XLM. Also, please elaborate on the reasons why so many individuals are upset by this news. Many people, in my opinion, incorrectly evaluate these assets in relation to one another. Please stick around for that, as I'd like to begin this video by touching on a topic that's garnered a lot of discussion in the XRP community as of late. Not that I have any very insightful thoughts on the matter either. To the contrary, I think it's a fascinating and widely interesting subject worthy of discussion. And that is whether or not, in the long run, financial institutions will keep XRP or similar assets. Despite widespread claims to the contrary from educated individuals of our society, banks will not be holding or using XRP. I'd want to share why, from my perspective, you're wrong about this. To begin, I have trouble believing that central banks will never adopt XRP, considering that Ripple is already working with them. Approximately 20% of the world's central banks are already working with Ripple or are in communication with the company. From this, I gather that they are working with banks and that financial institutions are considering adopting the XRP ledger. Whether they employ a public or private version of XRP, I think they'll use a private version of the ledger that ties to the public ledger. What happens in practice remains to be seen. Whether or not banks keep XRP is an open subject. While I believe they have reasons to do so if they use the private XRP ledger, many people today wonder why banks would keep XRP. They are risk-averse and could be wrong, therefore they don't want to hold on to volatile assets. The loans that banks make to new enterprises are extremely high risk. And these startups all end in disaster. These investments carry a high degree of risk and volatility yet lack the liquidity of other forms of investment. Also, I think it's important to note that financial institutions will seek out exposure to the various novel opportunities to generate income from digital assets in the future. Think about the potential of owning XRP and collecting a yearly dividend of 3%. Financial institutions that derive the vast majority of their yield from treasuries could benefit greatly from this. Now that banks have a legitimate means to profit from these standards, I expect them to seize this opportunity with both hands. To take advantage of these opportunities, they will need a place to keep and use a lot of digital materials. It's possible that not even the most common types of banks in use today are taking use of this. Maybe some of them will, maybe some of them won't. But I'm certain that the new breed of banks that will develop over the next few years will continue to leverage digital assets to boost their clients' yield and return. Simply put, I think it's a bit foolish to assume that banks won't ever deal with or adopt XRP. It seems to me that private ledgers are already being used by banks all over the world. David Schwartz also recommended starting by allowing them access to a walled garden or protected private ledger before allowing them to fully participate in the activity. There will be no barriers to entry on the Internet of Value, the primary public ledger for XRP. So, while these one banks and institutions may build the silos, I think it all circles back to the open XRP ledger in the end. Gary Gensler's testimony before the Senate Banking Committee is another topic I'd like to touch on. And if you were hoping for a massive shock, I have some questions that senators asked Gary Gensler about his hard stance on Bitcoin. The whole affair was a big fat nothing. That's all I wanted to say. Gary Gensler's answers to repeated questions about cryptocurrency are always the same. Neither the Senate nor the House of Representatives is putting any significant pressure on him. Tom Emmer and other Republicans anticipated irreversible change once their party took control of Congress. We are seeing, though, that they are treating Gary more kindly, in line with how the Democrats did. He is only asked mundane questions and is rarely actually called upon. And in the end, we're just not getting anywhere. At the SEC, Gary Gensler faces solely legal challenges. He is at liberty to do what he pleases. Alright, then. Unless the law steps in, I don't think Congress or the Senate will put much pressure on Gary Gensler. He will likely be able to do as he pleases. The judicial system is currently doing an excellent job of putting a stop to it. They have saved the day thus far. One reason I brought this up is that many people put a lot of stock in one particular political party over another. I think John Deere has made an excellent point here, and I appreciate how nice they are being, especially Kerry at the end. I hope to share the video of him talking about it widely. The Senate and House of Representatives have the power to rein in Gary Gensler. They aren't even trying. Remember this: I've had enough of the letters, and I know you have too. It's time for congressional subpoenas to be issued when letters go unanswered. You send the marshal to the area once you get a court order and start summoning people to appear before the committee. For whatever reason, this is rarely done. As if it were common knowledge, this is why I hate both the Democrats and the Republicans equally. But we won't go quite that far. We won't actually make any changes. Instead, we'll take up lecturing and suitable rhetoric in the form of letter writing. Gary Gensler, the current chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, is a cancer on innovation in the American economy. They're calling the shots in this fight, therefore we need to get him out of the driver's seat by mandating strict oversight. I think John Deaton has some very valid comments there. In other words, all Gary Gensler is getting are softballs right now. As a result of his work with FTX, he began receiving many letters. However, he completely ignored them and now refuses to engage with them in any way. Without a subpoena, which you are obligated to obey, I have little faith that Gary Gensler will be pressured. I really want to be wrong now. I'm crossing my fingers that the Republicans have a more comprehensive plan to put pressure on him. But so far, I've seen nothing but empty promises to back them up. Finally, the effort to really remove Trump from office has left me feeling profoundly disheartened. It appears to be an elaborate charade meant to win over members of that faction of the party. At the end of the day, we saw Democrats applying just as much pressure to Gary Gensler when they ran the House. There hasn't been much of a shift. As a result, I share John Deaton's view. Both of these political groups appear to have allowed Gary Gensler unfettered reign. That's really disappointing to me. However, as I've already stated, I'm relieved that the courts are stepping in to check many of his excesses of authority. Before I end this video, I'd like to quickly go over some of the key distinctions between the Stellar blockchain and the XRP ledger. Stellar has been teasing a major news for the past few weeks, and it looks like it will come this week. They made the announcement just now, and the bulk of the changes they made included their website. So why am I going public with this? A central bank adopting the XRP ledger for CBDC, a major new partner, or some other concrete development are the usual subjects of any major statement made by Ripple. As a result of this monumental news, changes are being made to the Stellar website. I don't mean any disrespect to Stellar or XLM by saying this. XLM is actually a fantastic blockchain. It's useful in a wide variety of contexts, and it's quick and efficient. So, what are the main dissimilarities between XLM and XRP? To begin, it wasn't a retail store, but rather an institution. Retail cannot be expected to adopt and develop XLM in isolation. Since, in the end, we see no evidence of that happening. The XRP ledger, where the bulk of the retail infrastructure is being constructed, is where the community is most densely packed. Not many people are involved in the accelerant scene. XLM isn't being put to good use on anything at the moment. This establishes beyond a reasonable doubt that XRP is superior for institutional use, while convicted felons are superior for retail use. Nonetheless, I feel it's important to emphasize that Ripple is a for-profit venture. The economic benefits of the XRP ledger were a primary driver in its development. They plan to make a lot of money by artificially inflating the price of XRP, with the goal of making this piece of software the most important of its kind. They are driven by profit, and while they call themselves the X11 Foundation, XLM does not appear anywhere on their financial statements. Because of this, they lack the same drive for invention. For me, this is a major problem. Since XRP sales generate revenue, Ripple can afford to approach the most prestigious organizations in the world to promote its product. Many people have a negative impression of the company, but its reputation really helps drive innovation. Everything has always been run on a capitalist basis. This is the source of some of the world's most influential and prosperous corporations. To put it bluntly, XLM and Stellar aren't exactly recognized for their inventiveness. As a result, they have decided to make a major statement by means of a website revamp. The main reason I'm telling you this is that many people confuse XLN for some type of retail version of XRP, and I just want to be clear that I only possess a little amount of XLN for my own usage and have no plans to buy any more. Just see where the conclusion is developed. All the action is happening on the XRP ledger and not at XLM. They have updated their website in conjunction with a major announcement. These concerns and doubts about the project's future progress are why I don't believe it will eventually outperform the XRP ledger. Anyway, I greatly value your being here today, gentlemen. I trust you enjoyed this bit of news. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. We'll talk again soon.